Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. Well, I thought in this video I would just run through a typical imaging session using the rig in southern Spain, and in this particular occasion I'm imaging M101 or the Pinwheel Galaxy, so let's get started. Okay, so I'll often check my phone, the Telegram app, that'll tell me whether often if the roof's open or not, but I usually also go to the Remote Observatories website and have a look at the weather conditions. Now this information can be up to 5 minutes old depending when it last updated, but you can look at more up-to-date things once I log into the PC, but you can see here it shows the green that the roof is open because the conditions are safe. Here is the webcam view of the all-sky cameras, and I can also see here what the cloud cover is, if it's windy or if there's been any rain. This shows the sky quality meter readings. Obviously that will be not so good if the moon is up, and I can also get an idea of when the moon is actually likely to come up, how far below the horizon or above the horizon it is. And we also have the weather forecast and the map here, which I can get a visual look as to how whether there's clouds about to appear or clouds are over there at the time, and whether it's worth logging in. There's also wind speed and also your forecasts that are coming up. So once I've logged into the remote computer in Spain, first thing I'll do is go to the Pegasus box, and there are two switches to turn on. One turns on the power to the ASI 2600, and the other one is to the flip-flap box, and the others are not involved. So once that's connected, I'll usually go down to the guide camera and connect that manually. I can connect these things automatically, but sometimes it grabs the wrong camera and it'll grab the guide camera as the imaging camera. So I like to manually just turn everything on, then I know everything's set and ready to go. So connect to the correct camera, have a look and see that this SG Pro knows to grab the ASI 2600 and not the guide camera, and then turn that on, and then just run through turning on everything else. It doesn't take long at all, and you know that everything is connected. This is the connection to the safety sort of monitoring, and you can see it's not lit up there, but when I click on it and it shows the roof is open, it's green. That means all's good to go. It would be red if the roof was closed. And then this just brings in the information at the bottom left there about what the conditions are like. It's also worth checking the little roof status app. That'll give you up-to-date information as to whether it's open or closed, because as I said, the website showing the weather conditions it refreshes every 5 minutes, so it could be 5 minutes behind. The roof could have just closed, for example. So you can see over here I've got all the targets I've been imaging. I'll just minimize this, and this is M101, which is what I'm currently imaging, and you can see the filters I've been having a go at. If I click this little cog here, it'll take me to the sort of planning tools area. I click on this and you can see how the target's going to be passing through the night sky when darkness is occurring, and this is the bar as the current time. Now if I want to define when I want it to start and finish, so for example when I want it to finish because they're going to move on to new target, I just right click on the bar there and you get a bit of a red cross that shows you when you're stopping, and then you left click on the bar here, you get a green, and that shows you when it's going to start. And I'm stopping here because I'm going to be moving on to a new target at that point. So I'm just going to close that down, and you can see here you can define it by elevation in the sky or time. I'm defining it by time, and that's why there's the yellow boxes around it, whereas the elevation, it doesn't have a yellow box around it. So that's the determining factor on this one. And then if we just move out of that one and go to the Crescent Nebula, which is the one I'm moving on to next, You can see that there is a yellow box around the elevation, so I want it to start above that elevation and I want it to finish at a time which is before sunrise. So we'll just go into the planning tools here and click. Yeah, no, that didn't work. Hang on, let me just click again and we should see it. And there you can see I'm getting it to start once the object is high enough in the sky and then just finish just before sunrise. Right, I'll click OK and OK again just to move that out of the way. Go back to M101 and we'll hit run sequence. And it's just going to initially slew to the target and run through some focusing and then repositioning and focusing again for the filter. So I'll let that run and we'll just speed things up here. Okay, so the first image for the night is coming in, and remember it's the HA, so it doesn't look that impressive, but it's a matter of stacking a lot of that together. I do have a ridiculous number of frames of HA, largely due to the moon, and here's a lot of them stacked. So just zoom in and you can see some nice nebulosity, which I'll be adding to the red channel using pixel math. So I'll keep going. And just a quick look at the second target for the night, which is the Crescent Nebula, and this is HA, so I'm basically collecting O3 and HA for an HO image, and I'll also have to do some RGB at some stage, but that's how it's looking for the 10-minute sub. Okay, let's look in PixInsight, just look at some of the raw files and just a little bit about the equations I've been using for adding HA or extracting HA from the HA file and then adding it to the red channel. So I'll just show you here, this is what the red channel looked like. Now the LRGB, I really only collected between 3 and 4 hours for each channel, so not a lot of time. I think it came to just under 14 hours for them all combined. As opposed to the HA, which was probably a silly amount of HA. It was just under 15 hours, but that was largely down to how the weather was in Spain and when the moon was up. As seems to be common everywhere, it was cloudy when there wasn't a moon and it was clear when there was a moon. So I didn't shoot LRGB when the moon was up, I just left it to HA, and so that's why that accumulated so much. So this is the red channel, and picking up a reasonable amount of detail here. There's a little dwarf galaxy over here, which I can't remember the name of, but I'll put up on the screen. And then there's this other dwarf galaxy, which I wanted to include in the field of view because I like the way it's sort of quite wonky and lopsided. So the core is there instead of being sort of more in the center. It's pulled right over to the side here. And apparently it's due to interactions with M101, which is a little bit on the wonky side anyway, if you sort of compare this Pinwheel Galaxy to our southern Pinwheel Galaxy, which is a lot more symmetrical. I'm just going to put the red channel, or just zoom in a bit, oops, it's a little bit much here, just so that I can compare with when I added the HA. Very quickly, the blue channel there, and the green channel, and I'm just going to pop these away. This is the luminance channel here as well. This is actually quite cropped down because at the time we're going through changing the configuration of the imaging train there over in Spain, because I did have some tilt in there that I was trying to get rid of, and it was sort of causing issues. So a lot of the flats that I had sort of didn't work. You can actually see there's a little bit of a hint of a dust bunny there. There were more dusts sort of motes out here, which I cropped away. So this is quite a cropped view anyhow. Now I collected some HA, which is here, as I said, just under 15 hours. So you can see quite a lot of HA in M101. There is a bit here in this little dwarf galaxy, and even a little bit in this little one down here. Oops, move in that way. And then I did collect a little bit of O3, but like it was less than 2 hours and didn't really contribute. I kind of added it to the blue channel, but I really couldn't tell a difference with it added or not added, to be honest with you. So that just came down to a lack of subs on that. So what I wanted to do was sort of extract the HA out of here and add it to the red channel. I've got a couple of pixel math equations here which I use. There's a Q factor here which is in the symbols, and you can adjust that just to get the desired result. And so you've got your HA channel labeled with HA, your red here. Now this one happens to be, where are we? This happens to have red without the 1 in it. This doesn't need to have the 1 there. It was just the way I saved the equation in the first place. So just as long as it has the same name, and you sort of run it on your HA, and you end up with this, and this is with it sort of extracted, if you like. It does weird things to the stars in the background, but you don't need to worry about that. It doesn't actually affect the rest of the image. The one thing though, that when you do add it back, the background here can be quite noisy, and if you add it back in, it can add to the noise of the red channel. So I did run a bit of noise exterminator just to sort of smooth that out. Now once I got my HA extracted, I then wanted to add it back in, and using this equation here, and this is, you can see that the extracted HA is new HA over here again. Unfortunately when I saved it I had a 1 in there, so I'll just remove that to show you. And then there's a multiplication factor here which you can vary depending on how it looks. And as I said, bearing in mind that when you're using this multiplication factor, if your background here is a little bit noisy, it will add that to the red channel. Now you could, for example, just do a mask on the red channel here, and just put a mask around the galaxy, so it's just adding it to the galaxy and leaving the background. Or what I did was here, I just smoothed out the background a bit. But by adding that, I can't remember what I ended up using in the end. It might have been a factor of 4, I can't remember. But this is what the red channel looked like with the HA added, and I think you can see that there is, we'll just zoom in a bit, you can see there is a difference there, that it has certainly highlighted those HA areas there. I did the same thing, same equations for the O3, you just change HA for O3 and red for blue, for example. And as I said, not a lot of O3, so it didn't really make much difference. So if you have a look at this is the blue channel without the O3 added, and this is the blue channel with it added, and it's kind of hard to see a difference. I mean, there might be a little bit extra there, but really I don't think I needed to bother with that. Then it was a matter of combining it together, and I'll just step back a couple of steps here. We got the stars in here. Now, when I went to use Star Exterminator, it took out all the stars, which was great, but it takes out a lot of the detail in the galaxy as well. And I was just sort of left with this fairly smooth pinwheel-shaped object with a lot of the interesting stuff left taken out and put with the stars. So what I ended up doing was just doing, I'll show you the mask. I just used the game script to put a mask around the galaxy and around these two little dwarf galaxies, so that, let me just hide the mask. If I just go forward, then it's extracted the stars, and it's left the galaxies behind in all their detail. It does leave a few of the other stars behind as well, obviously. Now, as you're processing that, you've got to be a little bit careful that these don't end up being too bright in your image compared to the other stars. And that may have happened with my final image a little bit, to be honest. Anyway, I went through and did a lot of curves work, used quite a few masks. That was more of a sort of like a luminance mask. I think that was my this mask I used for the game, with the game script for protecting the galaxy when I took the stars out. I think that's another luminance one where I've accentuated the highlighted areas and darkened the background, and there was also a range mask used. So a lot of curves work, a little bit of sharpening, etc. Took it into Photoshop as well towards the end. and this was my final image, which I thought, I was reasonably happy with. I was pleased that I included this little dwarf galaxy in up here as well, and you can see some little HA areas here, and there's the core off to one side. You can see this little dwarf galaxy here as well, and then I thought it wasn't too bad considering the sort of limited LRGB integration time, and as I said, overdone on the HA because that's just the way the weather was. But some nice detail in the core as well as these nice HA areas. So that's kind of how a typical imaging session runs when I'm doing the remote imaging with the rig in Spain. And I am doing some other targets as well, and some of those are sort of adding up to a lot more integration time. I think this one, for this image here, if I just have a quick look, the total was 30 hours, but half of that was actually just the HA, so a little over the top, as I said, when it came to the HA, but that was due to weather. So look, I hope you found that interesting. Certainly seen how I'm running SG Pro. I first started with SG Pro and then I moved to Nina, and the system they use over there is SG Pro, and so I've had to come to grips with that again. I kind of prefer it to be, wished it was Nina they were using. I think that SG Pro is missing some features that Nina has, and also can be a little quirky at times, cause a few issues, but I'm sort of getting better at working around those anyway. If you found this video interesting, consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel already, consider subscribing to see some of my other videos or future videos that will be coming out. I do have another one coming out shortly that I'm just in the process of making, where I did an image with the 10-inch mead in the home observatory here. And I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who's watching the videos, and those who have subscribed to the channel. Please feel free to leave comments in below, and I will answer those. If you have a question about what imaging rig I'm using in Spain and the setup there, etc., or if you have a comment you want to make about the final image, that's good as well. And look, until the next video, I hope everybody's getting lots and lots of clear skies.